I feel like that can relate to a lot of women with like fat loss journeys, because I've talked to so many that are, struggling, and their frame of reference is, well, I did this before and it worked. Why isn't it working now?
I would never recommend something like this for someone looking to lose weight, because you don't know how your body's gonna react to it. You could lose literally nothing. Could you imagine if she was allergic to honey?
I don't know what I would have done.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
all right, friends, today's episode is a little more of a life update because honestly, there's been a lot going on. We're talking all things wedding prep, travel with a baby to Vegas. Yeah, you heard that right. Ellie planning her honeymoon, her current water and bone broth fast situation, which I will probably have some questions about. Basically, it's a peek into our real lives right now, the chaos, the excitement, and anything in between. So grab your coffee, your water, or your bone broth if you're fasting like Ellie, and let's catch up, sis. All right, Elle, so this is our first together episode post-wedding. Yes. I know you did your update last week for all of our listeners, but let's talk a little bit more about like the post stuff, like what your plans have been, what's been going on since the wedding, since all of the craziness, the stress, and just like where you're at right now.
So the post stuff has been good, but interesting because all the stress really hit me. I talked about in the last episode a little bit about just getting sick from like a stress crash. But I did get better, but my inflammation has just been off the charts. I don't really know why. I don't know if it's just coming down from like sickness or anything like that. So that's why I am doing this water, bone broth, like kind of cleanse situation. I've done this before, but I'm seeing different results this time, which is kind of interesting. But I think my body needed it more this time. Before I did it just to do it for more of like a cellular repair situation. This, I really wanted to knock out inflammation. So I'm seeing much different results. I'm very low energy right now, so everyone forgive me. I'm trying to put it on for y'all. But I'm low energy and I'm cold. I'm also...
It is a little chilly.
But I'm also like 30, maybe 40 hours in to this fast. So I'm just in between right now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to know, like, I'm glad you brought it up that, like, you've done a water fast, bone broth fast before, and you're doing it now, and you're just seeing, like, completely different results. Like, I think that's just a testament to your body is always changing. Like, even though it was a few months ago that you did this, your body's still in a different position than it was then. So, of course, you're going to see different results. And I feel like that can relate to a lot of women with like fat loss journeys, because I've talked to so many that are, struggling, and their frame of reference is, well, I did this before and it worked. Why isn't it working now? And what we don't realize is how different and how fast our bodies can change, even in a month-to-month situation. So I know we had talked about what your results with the water fast had looked like before. So do you want to kind of like tell us what that looked like before and what you're experiencing this time around?
So this one I did a little bit differently. Before I did a 24-hour water fast into a 24-hour bone broth fast. So that was just you drank a cup of bone broth every 12 hours. So there's just 2 cups of bone broth in that. Will saw much different results than I did, of course, with like man and woman differences. But during that 48-hour fast previously, I probably dropped 2 pounds, maybe. Like, it was not really anything, and I wasn't necessarily doing it to lose any kind of weight. I was just intrigued to see what would happen. But this time, because I'm telling you, like, I needed it. Like, I needed to, like, do something for my inflammation in my body. And this goes to show just what inflammation is. Between yesterday morning and this morning, I'm down 5 pounds in 24 hours. Which that might all just be like put back on or something like that once I start eating, but that's just what inflammation can do to your body in such a short period of time.
I'd be curious to know, because I know just from listening to your episode, like just the foods that you were eating were not your typical foods, which probably led to a lot of the inflammation on top of the alcohol that you don't typically consume. So I'd be curious once you go back to eating, if you go back to like your normal, like homemade from scratch type foods, like if that inflammation will stay off.
I'm really hoping so. I was hoping that it was just a combination of some foods as well as being sick, because I feel like whenever I'm sick, like my inflammation definitely skyrockets, specifically like around my face, which makes sense with like the lymphatic drainage. But I really hope so. That's why I did it, because I was like, we got to do something. Like, we just did not feel good. It was like 2 weeks after the wedding. We were like, what's going on? And like, we were kind of back to our natural eating state. So we were just like, I don't know what else to do. And because we were saunaing, all that fun stuff. So we just dove into the water bone broth fast. But I did this one a little bit differently. Like I was saying previously, I did the water fast for 36 hours instead of 24. And then this morning, which would have been at the 36-hour like kind of mark, then I had like a cup of bone broth. And then I go to work today at 2. I'm going to break it with my fermented foods and my easily digestible fruits before I go to work today. So I'm not really doing the bone broth part this time. And then tomorrow I'll go back to eating like normal. But I do already feel better. I just feel low energy right now and cold. I've noticed during this time I've been feeling very cold. Last night I was extremely cold. Right now my nose is frozen. I'm on my...
You have to remember you did it in like June last time, right?
Yes. I did it in June, and
So,
like I said, I really didn't necessarily need to do it. So this could also be my body giving the response of like, okay, we're taking a break and we're shutting down just a smidge in order to flush out these toxins and do the cellular repair.
I think that, and just even climate, like it's a different season. Obviously, it's a lot chillier. I have no idea what the temperature is because my watch didn't charge last
It's 64 in my house right now.
It is 34 outside. Oh. At least here. Yeah.
Yeah. It is cold.
Well, I think my main question was just kind of like, what are the differences now, which you kind of already addressed. But I mean, I guess, I know we talked about this before, but as far as like recommending it for people, like, would you recommend this for a random person? I personally have never done a fast. I usually don't suggest or recommend fasting because typically that's not the solution. It just kind of causes this binge restrict type cycle to continue. But I know obviously for you, you've got a different relationship with food and your body at this moment. So, I mean, what kind of people would you recommend this to versus not?
I would never recommend something like this for someone looking to lose weight because you don't know how your body's going to react to it. You could lose literally nothing, or you could lose 5 pounds in one day. And it's like, whoa. But I would recommend this to someone that if your body's just feeling off, if you're just getting over like a sickness and like you just like can't like kick it, fasting has so many good benefits for cellular repair, for like, I know one of Will's friends has had cancer in the past and he does fasts regularly in order to try and fight off those cancer cells because it does allow the cells to go in and clean themselves up while you're not eating anything and just kind of flushing fluids through it. I would recommend if you're in high states of inflammation, just if you want your body to almost have a reset. But I would never recommend it to lose weight. Unless you're doing an intermittent fasting situation, and I'm not the best at that. I don't do that. I don't really know too much about that. But this is more of a cleanse, in my opinion. than
Yeah. And I like that you don't recommend this for people wanting to lose weight. Like, it's definitely, I would say it's more of like an advanced technique for someone that's already got a healthy routine established. So if you're not there, like, I wouldn't say go try a water or bone broth fast.
Yeah,
But that's me speaking from limited experience too.
you have to be like in tune with your body to feel kind of when you need it. And then you can maneuver how to do the fast, because you also need knowledge on how to do the fast, because there's certain ways on how to break a fast. You can't just sit down and eat Thanksgiving dinner after to break your fast.
Because you're starving.
Yeah, no, that's a no. There's this fast will continue on. We started Sunday at 6:00. This will continue on, and I will eat normally Wednesday morning. Because even though like I'm technically gonna break it at 2, I'm gonna break it, and that looks like minimal foods with good bacteria in them, easily digestible foods. And then that night, it's like easily digestible proteins, easily digestible vegetables. And then I'm going to sleep. It's not like my normal, like, beef and sweet potatoes. Well, I will be eating sweet potatoes because that's easily digestible. But it's not like the normal,
the
like,
beef.
yeah, no beef, no like sourdough, no like heavy bread options. It's all very like, because you have to then like caress and wake your gut back up nicely. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. You can't be like, ah!
Yeah, you can't just throw everything on it, especially, and God forbid, do never throw like processed foods or sugars on it after a fast. Like, it's the first thing your gut is waking up to after it just did a whole cleaning cycle. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. I also love, and I was going to mention, if, you're not to a point where like fasting would be a great option for you. Something that I've read about, and I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast, like you were talking about like the cell cleansing, like it's called autophagy. And there are benefits from even just 12 hours. So if you were to stop eating at 7 p.m., start eating at 7 a.m., like there's still benefits for your cells by just simply not putting anything into your body for 12 hours. So if that's something, if you're listening and you're like, I do feel like a little groggy, a little brain fog, a little this, that, whatever it is, like maybe try doing 12-hour fast. It's not like an intermittent fasting type thing. And I know there's so much new research coming out. There's a lot of people who have done it themselves, but I will say, as a women's nutrition and health coach, like, do not recommend those for women. Our hormones are very sensitive, and fasting is not a great option for them. So I would not recommend that, but I do believe, and I have seen the benefits myself when I was doing it, of not eating for 12 hours. It is hard for me to do right now. But I mean, I don't try to eat right up until bedtime. I usually try to stop around 7:30, and then it really just depends on what time we get up in the morning, or if I'm working out, if I do end up breaking like that 12-hour fast. But I do enjoy a good 12-hour fast just for the cellular benefit of it all.
I would agree. And that's why I do that bone broth in the morning and things like that, because we talked about this in our morning routines, but you are breaking a fast as soon as you wake up. So you should treat it as such as well.
Yep. All of this fasting and not fasting talk is making me think about Vegas.
Why?
Because I'm not going to lie, nutrition could have been a lot better.
Yes, but that's your 20%.
It was my 20%, and I think having an almost 1-year-old made it interesting as well. Like, I think most people know, and I will say I didn't know this until I started studying it, but like most people know that children under the age of 1 should not have honey.
Oh.
And I ordered Josie her first like ever kids meal for breakfast the one day when we were away, and I'm like squishing down her blueberries so they're not whole and round. And then I lick my finger. Meanwhile, Josie is already like grabbing right to the mouth because she's a berry girl. lick my finger off, she's already got it in her mouth. And I'm like, that was honey. There's honey on that fruit. There
Why
was no honey in the description.
why can't they have honey?
It's the only food linked to infant botulism, which is like a severe food poisoning.
Oh.
And I was like, what's the honey in this description? But I'm like, she's 11 and a half months. Like, I'm pretty sure she's going to be fine. She was fine. I mean, she hasn't showed anything from it, but like, I had a mild freak out for a little bit.
Rightfully
that
so.
Yeah, and I like double checked the description. Like, did I miss this? No, it said nothing about honey.
Could you imagine if she was allergic to honey?
I don't know what I would have done.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they have to say things in the description.
You would think. I don't know. I almost thought about like saying something to the server, but I was like, what are the odds that like a normal less than 1-year-old is getting their own meal ordered for them?
True. Josie does eat. I don't think eat excessive amounts, but I think that's something you should talk about in like a episode. Is how Josie literally eats every single thing you eat. There's never any baby food. It's never any formula. Like it's always Josie is eating adult food at all times.
Yes, and I have been grateful enough, and maybe this is something we could talk about with our episode for next week. Just because I do want to talk about, it'll be her birthday next week. I'm crying internally right now, trying to keep it internal. But I want to talk about her birth story, so maybe we can talk a little bit more about like her foods and how just like the first year of her life has gone. Because that's one thing that I was really passionate about. One, being able to breastfeed for the first entire year, which, I mean, we're a week out and we've made it this far.
You've done it.
And then also, a lot of people do like 100 foods before one. And I was like, you know what, that just seems too normal for me. So we're going to go for 200 foods before one. And we ended up reaching that, I think, on the 17th of October. So like
Nice.
3-ish weeks before she's one, we were able to achieve that milestone, which has been interesting. But all that to say, like, that makes traveling so much easier because she's literally just eating the foods we're eating. Now, I will say I do a lot of research into the foods that I give her if it is processed or packaged. So for instance, like I give her the puree pouches that I can get at Aldi just because they're a lot better. One thing I do want to look into more is finding pouches that don't have so much added sugar. But in the meantime, they meet all of my requirements enough that, you know, I took some of those along if there were any times where, you know, we had bigger meals that like we weren't eating as frequently. Like I would give her a pouch for a snack, or in the morning if we ate breakfast later. So that was something that I definitely just made sure I had on hand for her. That's not something that I would eat, but I know we talk about that's it bars all the time.
Love.
I was like, hey, Josie, let me see if you want this. And every morning we would sit on the floor, look out our window to the Caesars pool and watch the Sphere and eat our little that's it bars as like our appetizer for breakfast. It was the best.
Nice. Nice. Now, you know, they have stuff to where you can make your own pouches.
I do know that, but I'm also like, kind of like you were talking about last week with like the high stress situations, you know, if you're a working mom, you're a new mom, all of those things. Like, I feel like making your own purees and own baby food, like, one, that would have had to be refrigerated. That would have added another thing to remember, or a lunchbox, which airlines typically do allow you to have like a milk bag or like a bag for baby food specifically without an extra charge. But for me, I'm like, that's just one extra thing. That's more cleanup. That's more this. That's more that. As far as like storage, I've seen people like use leftover breast milk bags to like package them, and like it's very resourceful, and I think it's just reducing the amount of things that you have to buy and have to do that. But for me, I'm like, making baby food is just an extra thing that I just don't want to do.
Yeah. Especially if she will take a That's It bar or something like that. That's Perfect. 'Cause
Yeah, and
I love them.
she's definitely like she has enjoyed, I think, most everything I've given her. The only thing she didn't super love was like one of the last foods we had, and I can't remember because we had them together. I want to say it was acorn squash, just because it was a little more stringy. Like it looked like it had more of like the fleshy kind of sweet potato texture to it, but then add in a little bit of string, and she was just like,
No.
no, thank you. So maybe if I would have cut it up smaller or mushed it up smaller for her, it would have been better, but she was just not having it.
That's okay. How was your travel experience?
It was good. I will say I was nervous for the flights because I know when you and I had traveled with her, she was a lot younger. She naps for a lot longer, more frequently. So we kind of had that to our benefit where she could just sleep on all of the planes that we were on.
Yes.
Or nurse and just be totally happy to do that. But this time, at 11 and a half months, it required a lot more entertainment for a kid that does not like to sit. So on the way there, our first flight was, I want to say like an hour and 20 maybe, like it was really short. It was from Philadelphia to Nashville. So not really that long, but then we had Nashville all the way to Harry Reid, Las Vegas. So that one was a bit longer. She did really well though. Like I was proud of her. Now I will say on the flights coming home, she was a little, I think because of, so we did the travel, but then you figure like in the mornings we wake up for breakfast and then we're out the whole day. So she's either in the stroller or being held for the majority of the day. For a kid that wants to just move, like that's a lot of not moving. So I think by the end of those like 5 days, she was just like done. So our first flight, she was tired getting on, and we know she likes to be like up, moving around, like swaying, bouncing, walking, whatever, to fall asleep. So I wasn't really able to do that while taking off. So she was doing her arching back, throwing her head, whining, and I was like, Josie, I cannot stand up with you right now. So I'm trying to like shove the binky in her face, trying to like rock her, and she was just not having any of it. So, and that was both flights on the way home. She was tired at the takeoff of both flights on the way home. So,
Lovely.
same thing, but the first one, I forget, I think it was like an hour and maybe it was 2.5 hours was our first flight. Our second flight was like an hour and 45. So she thankfully slept an hour and 30 of the hour and 45 flight. So it was just takeoff and then landing that she was really up for, which was nice.
Good.
But she still did really well. Like coming home, you could tell there was a baby on the plane. But there were other babies on the plane.
Exactly. Exactly. You just can't be the loudest baby.
Exactly.
Yes.
We had, oh my gosh, the first flight there, it was so funny. There were 3 babies. I don't remember what the one in the back was named, but the one in front of us, that was Walter. He was 4 months old. It was his first flight. Oh! The flight attendant held him up, and she was like, this is still alive. And then he started absolutely screaming. She goes, oh, you don't like the circle. And then Josie didn't even ask Josie's name because Josie was in her on-theme outfit with her little cherries on, so she was Cherry Bomb. So she was just referred to as Cherry Bomb. And I was like, ma'am, since when do we say bomb around airports, planes, anything like that? Because you're just like letting this bomb fly.
Literally. Maybe she could do it because she's important.
Maybe.
But
maybe it was a test and we all failed.
Literally.
I don't know. But yeah, it was good. Josie did really well. We actually went to, and I know I've talked to you about this, but we went and saw The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, which, again, another situation where we've got a baby who doesn't like to sit still, sitting in a movie theater, a large movie theater, probably the largest we've ever been in, and maybe ever will be in, and 75-minute long video. Like 4D, things flying, flashing, seats are moving. There's apples, there's leaves, there's monkeys, like so much going on. And I think it had her attention for maybe 20 minutes.
it sounds so cool, though.
It was incredible. Like the only thing that I can think of, because it was just something that I absolutely hated as a kid, but like the A Bug's Life in Disney. Like,
Mm,
that's what it reminds me of. Because I'm like, that's the only, like, 4D movie I've ever really seen.
yeah.
So I was really hoping there weren't, like, stingers or ants running up your legs.
Yeah, I loved A Bug's Life, but I always sat on the edge of my seat because I hated the stinger part, which for those that don't know, in Disney World, A Bug's Life, during this one part there was like a bee sting and it would like sting your back. And I've actually never felt it because I'm so scared of it, which people tell me it's not that bad. But also, when you're going to like leave, they like let the bugs go first or whatever, and the bugs like crawl under your seat and you could feel them. And I'm just like, oh, no, no, no. So I'm like on the edge of my seat or I'm like hovering.
Like you're peeing in public.
Yeah, literally, like I'm hovering because I don't want to feel these bugs. I just want to watch the show.
Right. Right. So I was nervous about that because I knew that I didn't like The Bug's Life. But it was not Bug's Life at all whatsoever. It was so, like, the way that I can describe, like, the seating area is, like, if you're in the nosebleeds of an arena, like, they were deep. And we just, like, packed all these people in there. And, like I said, Josie was really good. I brought her headphones that we had got her for the airplane. I had to check the stroller, totally forgot to take them off the stroller. But we had got there with like just enough time to get in our seats. Like, I swear the movie started as soon as we sat our butts down. So I was like, I'm just going to do my best with her. If I have to cover her ears with my hands, I will. If she doesn't like it, I'll take her out. I'll grab the headphones. But there was only really one spot that it was really like loud and noisy. And that was like in the beginning when it's like the tornado part. So after that, like, she was totally fine. We saw a guy after, I guess he has a 5-month-old, and he's like, how old is she? And I said, like, so she's about to be 1. He's like, I didn't even know there was a baby behind me. And that's the best compliment I could have ever gotten.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
she did really well. If she started fussing, I fed her. Because, I mean, it was time. She had woke up from a nap, like, right as we were getting there. So it just fed her. It occupied her for a little bit, and then she was just kind of looking around at everyone, and it was good. She did so well. Overall, I think she did really well on the trip. So, I mean, would I recommend taking an 11-and-a-half-month-old to Vegas? You're not going to have the best time ever if you're going to gamble, I'll say that. But I'm not the gambler. So we just kind of stayed in motion because the kids can be like through the casino. You just can't like stop and stand or sit. So like if they wanted to gamble, I would just keep moving. I'd pace around, I'd walk back and forth. I just wouldn't stop and stand. So you can go, you can enjoy yourself. We did other things. I learned that I don't like public transit at all because what you don't immediately think about when you travel with a baby is that they can't just hop in an Uber.
No.
So we did take our car seat because I didn't want there to be stress arriving or leaving. So
Yes.
we took the car seat so we could at least Uber from the airport to the hotel and the hotel to the airport. I said, if that's all I needed, like my husband went, his friend went. I said, I've got 2 men. We're only doing carry-ons. Like Tristan and I both had roller bags. His friend had a backpack. Like, and I had the diaper bag. Like, that's all we took.
That's such a man thing to do.
Right.
Like,
so Tristan,
just bring a
I should say,
backpack.
Tristan had a backpack as well. Mind you, I think this is actually, I need to mention this because his friend is 6'7".
Yeah, like one outfit
he
fits in that
packed-
backpack.
He packed for 5 days in a backpack.
Yeah, no.
I don't know how he did it. He did not bring his toiletries. He bought them there and then threw them away before we left.
Well, not to veer off your story, but one of Will's groomsmen, I guess, from what I've heard, only brought his rehearsal dinner outfit and his tux. Like, didn't bring like lounging clothes or anything. And so Will, on like the day of the wedding, was like, go out and buy like a t-shirt and sweatpants. Like, what are you doing? What are you lounging in when you're in your hotel room at the end of the night? Like,
Boxers.
literally, like nothing, I guess. But like, that's such a man thing to do. That's so funny.
Yeah, so I was shocked that I fit into my carry-on. Like, I did not think that was going to work. I ended up throwing all of Josie's stuff in Tristan's bag because there was just no way we were both fitting in my carry-on. But we had diaper bag, my roller bag, Tristan's roller bag, his backpack, friend's backpack, and then we had the gate check bag for the car seat, and then we had the gate check bag for the stroller. So, like, we had a lot of stuff. But the cool thing was, since we had layover, like, connecting flights, we could just check the gate check at the first boarding of the plane and then check it all the way to the destination, which was nice. So we didn't have to, like, pick it up in the middle, lug it to the next gate, check it again. So that was nice. The past few weeks have just been crazy between your wedding, our trip to Vegas, like, party planning for Josie. I feel like I'm going to be doing that, like, all of this week, all of next week. And then, like, we get through that, and, I mean, there's not a whole lot for you to do for this, but then, like, you've got your honeymoon. And, like, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to plan your honeymoon, because I think I would just be absolutely burnt out.
Well, the honeymoon is already planned, which is really nice. We did that like a year ago, but we still have to like book excursions and worry about like renting like cars or like anything like that, worry about ferry tickets and train tickets and all that kind of stuff. So we still have that to do. It's Will was trying to do some of that last night and I was freezing and had no energy and I said, "Don't talk to me right now about that. I don't even want to hear about that right now." So I'll probably have to do it either tonight or tomorrow night or something in there. But let's hear about Josie's party planning.
I don't even know, like, what I am excited about for Josie's party. Like, I love a crock pot meal. Anything in a crock pot just sounds so cozy, especially when it's 32 out. So we are having an outdoor party. Dad's idea, not mine.
Yeah.
But what I think the good news is we got a large tent. So it's like 16 by 32. Like, it's a good one. Like, we paid a couple $100 for this on Amazon. Very good reviews, sturdy, like, metal poles, all of the things. Heavy duty tarp type deal. It's kind of like the one that our parents had. But it's just large. Has the side walls with the windows in the side walls, which we love. So, like, we can still get some light in. But I think if we just have enough people in the tent, one, it'll start to warm up a little bit if we've got it closed. But two, we do have a propane heater. So, like, be fine. But we're going to have some crock pot meals. I'm going to get a little sandwich platter from Walmart. And then we've got so many goodies and, like, I'm excited for the food part. But as far as the decorations, I am definitely going to get a little creative. It's really inspired me. If you're watching on video, like, I'm going to show you the little things I've made because that's just fun. So I put together a little hat for her. I think it's a little not centered, but it's fine.
It's okay. It's super cute. It has a little goose on it because her theme of her party is one silly
Silly
goose.
goose.
So,
She is, and I got her because we know kids like love to not use toys that are intended to be toys. It's like anything but a toy becomes a toy. So while we were in Jim Thorpe I didn't even talk about that. I talked about it on my story on Instagram, but we went to Jim Thorpe and rode the scenic train in the gorge. But I went to my friend's gift shop called A Silly Goose Novelties and something else, but you should go see it because it's great and my friends own it, so support small businesses. Anyway, plug for them. I got her a little magnet that says "I'm a silly goose" for the fridge because I'm sure I'll put it on the fridge and then it'll turn into her toy if it's on her level. And then I also got her this little happy birthday duck at the gift shop because she loves a good duck. Not for like the bathtub, but like just for gnawing on, you know? So I got her those. And then I loved the idea of painting like a happy birthday plate so she can eat her cake off of it every year. So I painted this little cake for her. I know it's going to be backward on screen, but I just need to, I want to put her little handprint on the back. And then I've got Mod Podge to just kind of like seal that off so she can eat off of it. And then that will be all golden. I'm doing like the monthly pictures. So we'll do a garland that has like 1 through 12 months, and I'll put like the monthly pictures I've taken in her sweater on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also seen like they I was going to say they blow up baby heads, which doesn't sound right. But like you get like the big picture, like a 5x7, you make the baby's head fit like on the 5x7, then you cut out their head and make a little like party hat garland out of them. So I've got like all of these ready because I still need to take her 1 year pictures. But like I've got little party hats that I cut out to make her little party hat garland. So there's a lot of like last minute stuff that needs to be done, but it's like picture-y things that like I can't do in advance, or then she's not like one when I'm taking the 12-month pictures.
Yes.
So yeah, we've got a lot going on, but I'm excited about it.
We'll give everyone an update, I guess, after from when we're recording this. We'll give everyone an update as if we froze or not from this outside party.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely life update. I mean, I feel like today? We could probably give an update like after your honeymoon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because then I'll have to give a good update for after my honeymoon to explain what we're doing. Just a little sneak peek of what we're doing. We're going to Italy and Greece for like 2 weeks. So I think during that time, there'll be a solo episode from Kaylin, and then maybe one episode of the both of us that we record prior. But other than that, there'll be a big life update after that as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be good. So do you have any more details as far as honeymoon goes other than like the flights and the stays and everything? Like, did you book any, or are there any excursions that you're like, I want to do this?
Well, I want to obviously, so we're going to Rome, Venice, Athens, and Naxos. I want to obviously do like a gondola ride in Venice, like through the canals. I want to see the Colosseum. I don't know if we booked it or we were looking into like tours of the Colosseum. I want to do that. I want to eat the food. I'm so excited to eat the food because it's just supposed to be light years better than American food, nutrition wise and ingredient wise. So I'm very, very, very excited for that, and very excited to talk about that when I get back. In Naxos, I think we want to rent like 4-wheelers or like Vespas or something just to like get around the island. We have to book our ferry tickets because what I didn't realize when going to Greece is these ferries are no joke. Our ferry ride from Athens, so we'll fly into Athens, but then to go to like one of the islands, so we're going to Naxos, our ferry ride to get there is actually, you guys, you tell me how long you would think a ferry ride from there is. Granted, this is a ferry ride. Tell me how long you think.
Okay, so I am not great with geography. I have no idea the distance between land and island. But now that you're saying that, I feel like it's going to be a few hours.
Yeah, it's like 6 or 7.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You could have started a cruise ship for that.
I think I might have lied. I think it's 5. But that's still a long time to be on a boat with just all of your stuff. So we're looking into like, you can like rent like cabins and stuff in there to where they have like beds and everything. So we're looking into like one of those so we could at least like lay down and be away from people.
Right. Now, would that be like during the day?
It would be during the day, but then we can at least like have a space that's just ours, or like lay down and like watch a movie and not be like seated in seats. Cause like that's like a 5-hour, 6-hour flight. It's kind of like, I don't want to do that.
Because public transit sucks.
Yeah. All of our stays, all of our flights, everything like that is already booked. So that's completely fine. It's just more of the fun in between stuff. But last night when I was into the bone broth was not the bone broth, into the water fast was not the time to be asking about details. So maybe tonight.
If anyone knows you, you just hate questions in
Oh my God.
general.
I hate a question more than anyone in this world, I believe. If you have two questions back to back, take me out. I don't want to hear them.
Like, you're the one person, you know how like people will say like, "Can I ask you a question?" It's like, "Well, you just did."
Yeah.
But like, you're the one person that I would actually have, or I do ask for permission to ask you a question because it's like, "Can you handle a question right now?"
I don't know what questions have ever done to me, but something along the lines, something with questions has happened to me to where if you ask me too many questions, like I will cry. It could be regular questions and I will cry because I'm overwhelmed. Because if I don't have the answers for you, I, I, I failed you and I can't handle that. So don't ask me questions ever.
Unless you're certain that she has an answer.
Well, that was my whole issue with like wedding planning that I didn't really talk about is just everyone asks you questions because you are the point of contact, which I get. I get it. But there's so many questions coming your way that like I don't have answers. I can't focus on that when I'm thinking about this right now. And if there's like 6 questions back to back, especially all on different things, I'm going to freak out. You don't understand how my mind works. So
Right.
I'm not a question gal for anyone wondering. So especially if I'm on like, I'm having like a me moment, I'm on my phone, I'm just chilling. And if you have like 3 questions coming at me back to back, you've ruined both of our nights.
But you're about to find out why.
You're about to find out.
So, back, I do have a question
Oh
based off
no.
of your just kind of you were talking, and I was like, you said Vespas plural. Are you planning to drive a Vespa?
No.
Okay.
No, probably not. But we are planning on seeing if we can rent a car in Italy.
That would be
And
interesting.
yeah, they drive on the other side.
So I was going to say, truthfully, like, do you have to, I would hope so, that you would have to take like some type of driver's test to be able to drive there.
From what I understand, no.
That's a little crazy.
Because how Will described it to me was, which this is horrible, but this is what he said word for word. He said, well, we let these people rent cars from us.
You would know.
He would know. Like that, he works in that space. So, like, I was like, oh, y'all don't, like, vet them and, like, make sure they can drive the car first? And he's like, no. I said,
That's
oh,
wild. So the only kind of like reference I have for driving in other countries is like when I was in the Air Force and I was never deployed or I never went on like any temporary duties or anything, but one of my close friends, like my assistant in my business, who was my supervisor, she was deployed to Germany, or I should say she did a temporary like tour there with a couple other people that were in my unit, but like, and maybe it's just because it was like US government that like they required this, but like they had to take driver's tests to be able to be allowed to drive. But you all have to also think like all of the road signs are in a different language. Like, how do you know?
it's very true. Um, I think we'll learn pretty fast. But when we were in Bermuda, I will say, in Bermuda, because it is an island owned by the UK, they drive on the wrong side. Well, it's the right side for them, but it's our wrong side. They drive on the wrong side, and that took a little bit of getting used to. Now, I want to remind everyone, we were driving through Bermuda on the wrong side of the road on like a motorcycle. We were like flirting with death most of that trip. But you got to have the fun experiences. So you got to do it. And I kind of want a car. So then we don't have to
Yeah.
do like the public transportation. It's a little bit easier just to like
It
bounce
saves
to different
time
things.
too.
Yeah. Because
So, legit question on that, because I feel like obviously in like UK driving on the other side of the road, like they also sit on the other side of the vehicle. Is that the same thing there?
ooh, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, because in Bermuda, we were on like a bike, so it didn't really
Right.
matter.
I feel like that in itself would throw me off.
But I
Just
feel like
sitting on the
it,
other side of the car driving.
you know what? I feel like it wouldn't because you're used to being close to the inside of the road. Do you
Okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe that would still work. I think what would throw me off is now that I'm in the passenger side
You're getting on the driver's side.
driving. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that would feel weird. I wouldn't know where I am in the road. I feel like it would feel okay. But I don't know. That's little
We'll need
things.
an update on that too.
We're gonna need an update. I Will keeps telling me I'm definitely gonna get poisoned in Italy, which I agree with him. So we'll see what that looks like because he said everything has Nutella in it. There's some like Italian meats like mortadella I can't have.
You're going to need to research extensively or chat GPT, like, what food should I really be on the lookout for? And be asking a million times, does this have nuts in it?
Yeah, I want to look on Amazon. I think there's like little cards you can buy that like have everything you can't have on a card in their language that you can like just hand to someone.
That's probably a good idea.
So maybe I'll do something like that. But also, I'll just bring a lot of Benadryl because Will is also allergic to the most random
I was
things.
going to say there could be some surprises.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I don't want to like hold myself back either. Obviously, if I know something has Nutella in it, I'm not gonna get it. But
I
if
was going to
it's
say, will
an
this be the
accident,
time that you finally say, you know what, I'm going to try it?
I know, literally in another country.
Yep.
Probably shouldn't.
No.
But I know like pesto, I always have to stay away from. Mortadella, which they like to put nuts in meat. Like, what are we doing? But mortadella, I have to stay away
Yeah.
from. Yeah. And Nutella, obviously, I have to stay away from. Other than that, I think I can kind of see when something has nuts on it because normally it's like an on top situation. But those are ones that could be disguised very easily. So I have to watch.
Definitely need to keep an eye out for those. Hopefully you'll have, I feel like, not that it's like super touristy, but hopefully you'll be in areas that have enough tourists that like maybe they would know a lick or two of English that like you could at least just ask, you know,
I know.
and be on the same page with.
But you know me, I'm like, take me to the least touristy thing. I want to feel like I've lived here for 30 years.
I think you can also use, I'm sure, even like, I know I already mentioned like ChatGPT, but even like Google or like Translate or something, like if you can't verbally get it across to them, you could probably like type it in your phone and just like make sure that you understand each other.
Yeah.
Which also another thing that will be interesting, like how does phone service work there?
I don't know.
I've only ever been to Canada.
Oh, girl.
I shouldn't say that. I've been to other places, but like not when I was an adult with a phone. You know? Like if I was a kid with my parent and I was just like, oh, can't use my phone? Okay. You know? I don't
Yeah.
have to be responsible for things.
Yeah, no, generally it works pretty well. I have to look into that, and I think it's just something I have to put on my plan, but I don't know.
Like an
I'm gonna see.
international.
Yeah, because it's generally sometimes like slower too, so that's gonna really suck if I'm like, does this have nuts in it and it's just spinning?
Well, then. Oh
Like, oh my God.
my gosh. All right. Are you ready to wrap this one up? We got anything else to talk about?
I'm ready to wrap this one up because I seem to be hungry.
Oh, perfect. So that is our little life update for the week from our wedding stuff and travel and fasting. We will be back next week with not a more actual wellness talk. It will be our Josie girl's first birthday, so we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A style on her birth story, talk about her first year of life and lots of mom things, but just real life stuff. So if you've loved hanging out with us today, make sure you give the show 5 stars and share this episode with a friend, especially the one who's about to plan a wedding or trying to pack for a trip with a baby. As always, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok. We thank you for listening to the Sis Let's Heal podcast.